I'm so honored to be in the presence of so many great leaders today. The leaders on this stage and the leaders sitting here in the audience. The leaders who've made our system what it is today. And that's what I want to talk to you about today, leadership. Our role as leaders, with our people, as an association, and in our communities. Leadership begins with people. I've been very fortunate in my career to have worked for people who understand the importance of being a leader, who provided opportunities for me to step up and get out of my comfort zone and advance my career, starting with one of my very first jobs in the hospitality industry. Like many of you, I ended up in this business by accident. I was still in college, recently married, and we'd had our first child. And man, did I ever need a job. Since I'd worked in the hotel industry before, I was hired by the local Holiday Inn as a night auditor. And I went to college in the daytime. Now, we have an event in Canada called the Summer Games, where young people from across the country come together for a big athletic competition. Our hotel was a media center for the event, which was great for occupancy. But it was a double-edged sword. You see, this hotel had almost lost its license because it overbooked so much. So our regional vice president came to me and said, "Glenn, I'd like you to take over as the front office manager because we don't want to have a disaster with overbooking." And I said, "I just can't. I'm in college. I'm taking 6 courses. I have a wife and a baby at home. I can't do this." He said, "You go to school and come to work whenever you can, but promise me that you can do this for me." So I did it. I stepped up. I continued taking classes, a full load, but I did it. I had to, because that gentleman had so much confidence in me that he inspired me. He asked me to take a big leap, but still give me the flexibility to do it my way. That had a huge impact on me. So much so that instead of continuing on with my plan to go to law school, I stayed in the hotel industry. And here I am today. Shortly after I took over as front office manager, I was given the opportunity to manage my first hotel, and it was a Holiday Inn. As a matter of fact, it was a Holiday Inn where I first met Kirk back in 1988, I think it was. I was very excited about it. Not only was it my first opportunity as a general manager, but also because I believed in the company that I worked for and thought they only operated quality properties. Was I in for a rude awakening? To say that this hotel should have been relaunched 25 years ago would be an understatement. The first room I entered had a green garbage bag taped over the soap dish, and it went downhill from there. I was so dejected that when I went back to my room that night, I literally cried. But once again, I had a great leader. He told me that the company was going to inject capital in the hotel, and he convinced me to stay. Well, I didn't get much capital, and I know none of you have had that experience, but I did get an opportunity to build a great team. And together, we repositioned that hotel and made it the leader in our market. We were all young, and we didn't know what we couldn't do. We had a common vision, we supported each other totally, and we built a young team that never said never. We stepped up and took leadership roles in each of our respective areas. And we had the time of our lives. And today, many of the members of that team are industry leaders in their own right. And some of them are here with us today. From that experience, I learned lessons that stay with me to this day. Like believing you can make a difference, surrounding yourself with great people who share a common vision, and supporting each other to achieve your common goals is leadership in action. We, as owners, operators, and directors of sales, have the same opportunity to provide that kind of leadership, that kind of inspiration to the people who work for us. Because providing people with opportunities is how we develop leaders. When it comes to leadership as an association, we've made great strides in the past few years. We were shoulder to shoulder with IHG through the Holiday Inn relaunch, the biggest of its kind in the industry. Our role now is to continue to work with IHG to push the bar, be best in practice, increase our market share. And that's going to mean that we need to continue to innovate with our product, that we continue to go out and find and encourage and engage the best people that we can. Same for Crown Plaza. Crown Plaza is at the beginning of its journey. And as we continue, we'll take what we learned from the Holiday Inn experience and once again work closely with IHG to move Crown Plaza forward. If we've learned anything from the Holiday Inn relaunch, it's that when you start with guests, what they want, need, and are willing to pay for, you can get a great return on your investment. Excuse me, I think I'm going to grab some water. ROI. Another area where, as an association, we need to lead. You've told us that improving ROI and the value of our assets is the most important thing your IHG Owners Association can do for our collective benefit. Now, I live in Canada, and Canada has two official languages, French and English. And do you know what the French word for king is? Roi, which is spelt R-O-I. So for me, it's going to be easy to remember that R-O-I is king. To get the best ROI, we need to embrace IHG initiatives, like revenue management for hire. We need to deal with the OTAs and the TPIs. And we need to sell groups more effectively. IHG has made a real commitment in this area, and we're seeing lots of positive change. But this is a huge opportunity, and we know we can do more. To outline our association's leadership going forward, we've developed a global strategy, one that allows us to support our membership as it grows around the world, and do it in close alignment with IHG. We also have lots of opportunities right here in the Americas, where we continue to see significant growth. We want to make sure that we continue to support you by offering programs like In-Supply, industry-leading education programs, and engaging with you in a way that provides true value to all of our members. A big part of my personal leadership role this coming year is to reach out to those of you who may not feel as engaged in our association as you'd like to be. We'll be doing this by expanding programs already in place, like town hall meetings, but also add real recognition of the great work you're doing in your communities here in the Americas and around the world. We also understand that if we are to continue to improve as we move forward, we have to find and develop our next generation of leaders. So I'm pleased to tell you that we will be launching an initiative to identify, mentor, and engage this next generation. And in conjunction with IHG, we'll provide more information on this in the months ahead. Which brings me to the final critical area of leadership in the community. Taking a leadership role in our local markets not only builds a positive reputation, not only helps engage your employees, but also can help you build business. Take Give Kids the World, for example. Many of you have met Alyssa Petrushka, a young lady who visited Give Kids the World when she was just 3 years old, when she had been diagnosed with cancer. During her visit, the cancer went into remission. And Alyssa is convinced that her visit to Disney World changed and saved her life. This is why we support this wonderful organization. This is why we're so proud that our Ice Cream for Breakfast event, with the great leadership of Patrick Dwyer and the area managers assisting us, raised more than $100,000 to help kids like Alyssa this past August. And I know that our friends at Candlewood and Staybridge have made a major commitment to give kids the world. And we've also made a commitment to raise $250,000 to build 2 villas at the Give Kids the World Village. Working with Priority Club Rewards, we're encouraging members to contribute points and make cash donations. We hope you'll join us. And you can do it right here in Vegas at the Give Kids the World booth in the trade show. And I was down there earlier today. Alyssa's there. She's a lovely 14-year-old lady. So when you drop by, please introduce yourself. I know she'll be thrilled. As important as this work is, the opportunity doesn't stop with helping the children. Being involved also allows us to reach 8,000 volunteers, 109,000 families who've stayed at the villas, and 125 major corporate sponsors of the charity. Every one of these people, the volunteers, the families, and the corporation, all of them are potential customers. There's no reason why we shouldn't engage with them from a business perspective. It's doing well by doing good. Leadership in the community includes not only the great work that you do as corporate citizens in your local markets, but also the environmental impact of your hotel. Green Engage is an important tool to help us lead. This program can not only reduce your carbon footprint, but also significantly reduce our operating costs. Let me say that again. Green Engage can help us reduce our costs. Think about it. If energy represents 5 to 7% of our operating costs, and Green Engage helps us reduce that by 10%, that can have significant impact. Especially since one of the primary issues that we face today as hotel owners is our profitability. We're being squeezed by our costs on the one hand and lower rates on the other. We all know that this recovery has been predominantly driven by occupancy, not rate. Because of that, even though we're seeing more revenue coming in, we're not necessarily seeing more money come to the bottom line. So we need to find ways to reduce our operating expenses without impacting our product or our service. Green Engage does that. And it gives us an opportunity to appeal to a segment of the population looking for a green-conscious business, so that we can get a disproportionate amount of that business. And when you incorporate green buying practices through our in-supply program, we can expect to see a significant contribution to the bottom line. I'd like to close now on a personal note. I know that I'd not be where I am today as a leader without the support of friends, colleagues, and family. And I'd like to thank my wife, Penny. She's my greatest supporter and the love of my life. My 2 sons, John, he's the baby that got me started on this career so many years ago, and Stephen. I'm so proud of them and their families and the work that they do with me and my company. I'm also delighted to have my brother Clark, my nephew Glenn, born on my birthday, of course, and numerous business partners and colleagues that are here with me today, along with my fellow board members and our professional staff. Because if I've learned anything about leadership over the past 3 decades, it's that you can't do this alone. So I'm truly honored and grateful to have their support and your support as together we write this exciting new chapter in the IHG Owners Association and do it as leaders. Thank you.